Hi everyone, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I have come to you to bring you a video tonight. I wanted to have it on here sooner, but it just wasn't happening. So here I am now, so I'm going to try to bring that to you. First, let me just make a few little announcements that I have my June host code up, which is right here. If you would like to place an order with me, along with my website, which is right here, ritaholmes.stampinup.net. I do have a Facebook group, Stamp Crazy VIP, where I post a video every Tuesday morning, along with a PDF of the card that I'm making, along with pictures. And the pictures of this card is actually the ones with the flowers. That is sitting right here. That is the one I did on my video Tuesday, but tonight I'm going to do the turtle card. And it's made the same way. This is a bookmark in a card. And before I go any further, if you guys don't mind hitting the share button, if you're not subscribed to my channel, if you'd like to hit the subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up if you like my video. If you don't, you can give me the thumbs down, but please give me a comment and let me know what's wrong with it so I can try to perfect that. I would be greatly appreciated of that. I like criticism in either way, so I just like to know what I can do to make it better or whatever. So that would be great news for me. But here is the bookmark card, and you just make the card. Here's the little bookmark that comes out, and I think since it's summertime and we think of, or I do, summertime reading and just taking some time to do some of that, and I thought a bookmark card would be nice. You could do it for birthdays, thinking of you, whatever. But when you open up the card, to bring the card front and side, I put the little flower here along with the zigzag, which was the top of this piece of paper or cardstock when I cut it. And this I did as a thank you card. I just put, "You make a difference every day. Thank you so much," which I think that's a nice little saying to give to someone to be in a bookmark. So I will tell you something about this card that I won't be doing on the other card. As you see my little gems right here, when I went to put those on, I went ahead and stuck this down in here and put them on so that they wouldn't fall in under here and make it any more lumpy than it already is. Okay? So that's just a little tidbit for this card here. If you're doing like flowers or something like that and you want to add some gems, put your bookmark down inside your flap or your little pocket before you add your gems. Okay, so let's get started with the card. This has some extra little steps to it than what the other one did. Here is my turtle card, and here's my little bookmark, and if you noticed I put them on dimensionals so that when I put him in here, his little legs would be hanging out over the pocket right here. So I used the flower from the, I think it's called Flowers of Friendship set, which is what this set is, Flowers of Friendship. And then this is the turtle set. And on the inside I just did a little turtle. And then again put my other piece of cardstock from where I cut this out on the inside. And I made that a happy birthday card. It says, "It's time to celebrate," is what that says. So I thought that was really cute. And so we're going to be making this one today. I'll show you the stamp sets. Here is the turtle. And the turtle comes with, you have all of your pieces in here. The only thing that I used that wasn't in this set was the flower. And it also comes with a turtle punch, or you can get it as a bundle with the turtle punch, which punches out the big turtle. Okay, and it's real easy to punch, and I'll be showing you that also. The Flowers of Friendship that I used on the other card is this set right here, and it also will bundle with a punch, which are, let me close this so you can see it. It has these two flowers and these two leaves right here that you can cut out. Okay, and that's the two sets. Now on this set here, the sentiments I put on there came from the Inspired Thoughts set. I used the You Make a Difference Every Day, and then I put Thank You So Much. I used those two on that card. So that is what's in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because we have a lot of little things to do with this card, but I wanted to do it from beginning to end with you. So far, what I have here is a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock, scored at 4 1/4, folded in half, and this is my card, and this is the Evening Evergreen color. Then I have a piece of 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 that will go on the front here as soon as I put my other layers on it. And that is soft eucalyptus. And then I am using the 2021 to 2023 DSP, the 6x6 papers. And what I am going to do here is I'm going to put I'm using the Pale Papaya, so I'm using one piece of paper, and what it is I cut that down 4 inches, which made it 4 by 6, and then I cut it 4 inches here, so I got a 4 by 4 and a 4 by 2, and then I have a 2 by 6 piece that's left over. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add these to my card, and I think I'm going to do it this way. Actually, this one I'm not going to add yet, but I'm going to go ahead and put this one here down, the 4 by 4 one. So I'm just going to add some glue. And I'm coming to you, well, I'm actually doing this video at night. It's after 10 o'clock at my house tonight, but I want to get it done because I'm actually having surgery tomorrow on June 11th or June 10th. And I wanted to get this done this week before I went and had surgery. So I'll be away for a week or so probably. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I got this to you guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in this piece that measures 2 5/8 by 4. And that's what I'm going to cut. That'll end up going behind this when I cut off this edge. So let me bring in the little mini embossing machine, my die cutting machine. And what I'm going to use here, these are called the basic border dies, and there's, if you can see those, there are several different borders in there you can use. And I'm going to use this one that looks like a little zigzag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, I got to stand up like always. I can't see it's called when you have transitional lenses in your glasses, you can't see what you're doing sitting down. So what I'm going to do, and you want to put this between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch up here for your border. So mine looks pretty good about there. I need to bring this out. I'm going to lay it right here. I hope you can see it. I usually don't tape my stuff down. Let's see if I can. I think I want to move that up just a hair. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant this down on that and hold it. And stick it in here. And if it's a little off, that's okay. I made one the other day, it was a little off. And my theory is that's handmade. So let's take all of this off and put this away out of our way. Okay, so there we go with our 2 pieces. We'll put our border back in here with the rest of the borders so we don't lose it. And stick those to the side. So now I'll bring in this piece back in, and if you'll notice, I'll just be able to glue that in right like that. Okay, so let's do that. And there'll be one more thing before I can glue that to the front of my card that I have to do before we do our stamping. And that is, I'm going to go ahead and add my ribbon. Well, I'm going to actually glue this to here and then put my ribbon on before I put it on the front of the card. And that's what that's going to look like, okay? When you glue this, because you're making a pocket, don't glue the top. Glue around each side and along the bottom, and don't make a big gluey mess, because you just want to do the edges of it. I'm going to bring it in here, and I'm going to line that up with my DSP that's already on there, and just make a border around my card. And there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this Evening Evergreen ribbon. And I'm just going to cut a piece a little bit bigger than the width of my card. I'm going to bring that over, and I didn't bring my snail adhesive in. So what I'm going to do is bring this over. I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to bring my flaps over, and I'm going to take a piece of Scotch tape, because I always have Scotch tape on my so I'm just going to tape each end down, and that way we have that taped on there. Okay, now I can go ahead and glue this part to the front of my card. So let's do that. Whoops, I got glue on my table. That's not good. So let's go ahead and get that glued down. And as you notice, I just have a small border around my card. That's all I wanted, was just something small. I didn't want to show it a lot, so I'm going to take my glue eraser. Anytime you get a little bit of glue on the outside, just take a glue eraser and get that off. And if your glue eraser starts getting real dirty and black on the edges, I've just spilled this off, just take and peel your edges off, you know. I just kind of pinch them and get all that off. Make sure eraser work a lot better. I can't even speak tonight, goodness gracious. So okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to make my bow that goes on the front, and I'm going to have all this part done. So let's just go ahead and do our bow. And I just pull each end. If I can get a hold of the other end, I'll pull it. And I work my bow to the size I need it. If you don't like making bows, you can just tie a knot down there. Or put a little flower, do whatever, you know, whatever you think your card looks good at having. I'm going to cut these off. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some glue dots, and I usually put like 2 of them to the back of my bow. And right where that bow, I'm just going to stick that right on there, and I'm going to set that aside. That's the front of my card. Well, before we do that, let's go ahead and take our inside of our card, and this little piece that I had left, let's go ahead and put a little bit of glue on that, and we're going to put it across this bottom and stick that on the inside of the card. Let's see which side worked best for that. go. And I just leave a little bit of a white border down there and put this. You don't have to be real precise about how far down or up you go with it. That's up to you. And then we'll open our card and we'll go ahead and glue this to the inside, and we'll have that much of the card put together. And then what we're going to do is we are going to decorate our, whoops. You see how I did that? I went to move my finger and forgot to take it up off of that card. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to put this away for a second because that'll be for our, when we do our bookmark. Now we're going to be doing our little bookmark. I'm going to get it out right here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my two pieces for my bookmark, and they measure 4.5 by 2 3/8, and then 4 3/8 by 2 1/4. And I want to take our trio punch, and it has a corner rounder right here on this side. So I'm going to put my pieces in, and I'm going to round my corners. And if you've never used one of these, they have these little notches right here and here at that space. And what I'm going to do is I want to put that in for those notches. You always want to press this in the center and not on the edges of what you're punching. You're just going towards the center. So I'm going to do the same here and here. And then we will set that aside. We'll be using the hole punch on that after we get our stamping done on here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper for a second. And I am going to do my little squiggles that you see down here along the bottom. And I'm going to do that in the color Soft Succulent. So let's open that up. It's hard to match up, so mine kind of overlapped a little bit, but that's just the way it goes on that. So there's that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to clean my stamps as I go a little bit, so because I'm going to be using the same block on a couple things because I got so much going on over here. Now I'm going to take the It's Time to Celebrate is what it's called, and we're going to use the Memento Black, and I'm just going to ink that up, make sure it's inked up pretty well. I'm just going to bring that in here and stamp. And while I'm doing that, let's open up this card and we'll do the happy birthday on the inside. So we'll put that like about right here. I think I just touched the stamp pad now with my hand, with my arm. I thought I've done that before, stuck my whole arm in my stamp pad. Have you ever done that? Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Had ink all over the place. It was just an inky mess. But that's me. That's what I do best. Okay, we have those stamped. And I'm going to take I'll put this away just for a second because I will have to bring it back out for my turtle. I'm going to take the polished pink and And I'm going to take my little bird and I'm going to ink that into polished pink. And I'm going to stamp it about right here. There we go. Isn't that a cute little bird? So cute. Really, really cute. Trying to put my stamps back onto my other stamps back where they're going to go to be stamped. Goodness, lots of little stamping here. Okay, what I'm going to do with that now is, I just got ink on my fingers, inky fingers. Those are a good thing to have. I'm going to glue these two pieces together where I punched my little, and that'll leave just a small border. We're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this together. So there again, we're not going to use a whole, we're just going to glue around the edges, hold it down. I'm going to go ahead and place this on here. And there we go. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in that trio punch back in. And we're going to use this little hole punch right here. If you can see that. I'm going to put that facing me. I'm going to put this in here, and what I'm going to do, let me pick it up first. I'm going to try to like line it up to where I only have the same amount on each side there. Push it all the back in, as far back in as I can. And then I'm going to press down. And there's my hole. That's our little hole for our bookmark. And what we're going to do is bring in another piece of ribbon. And we only need it about 4 to 6 inches long. We don't need it real long. I like to cut it a little bit longer than I need it and trim it so I have room to tie. So I'm just going to put that in there. And tie a knot. And that is just like that. Okay, which that'll fit in my bookmark like here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim those while they're in here, because I don't need them real long. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a scrap piece of paper, and we're going to bring in our turtle, and I'm going to stamp my turtle right here. So we're going to stamp him in black. There he is. Then I'm going to take my flower and I'm going to stamp my flower up here in this corner. Okay, there's that. Okay, on the inside of my card right here, I'm going to take this little turtle and I'm going to stamp him right here. And there's my little turtle, because I can do all my coloring at one time with my turtles and stuff. And I'll show you how I did that for their shells. If you can see, his shell's kind of multicolored. But before we do the shells on either one of them, we are going to take, and I'm going to use the Calypso, or the Calypso Coral, Soft Succulent and I'm going to color his legs. Sounds like my husband's getting ready to go to bed, so he'll be down here in a minute and I have to tell him good night. He always comes down to the basement when I'm working down here late at night to tell me good night. If he hears me doing a video though, he might not come down. He's funny about that stuff. He tries to let me have my time doing this. My dog decided to come down there. She's coming down. She hears him go to bed and she wants me to take her outside so she can go to bed. She's a spoiled little chihuahua. And I'm going to go around the outside edge of this. You don't want to color in the whole shell, because we're going to, or the whole part that looks like a shell, because we are going to be coloring that in with the shell stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and do my baby turtle as we're doing that. Then we'll do each part as we go with the colors. So he's getting colored the same way as the other one did. Only he's a lot smaller scaled. And they have two of these little turtles, and you can stamp one going each way if you wanted to, like they could be facing each other. They're really, really cute. Okay, so I did that, so let's bring in the dark, and I'm just going to add a little bit of dark in here. And I'm going to go over his tail with the dark. And then some of his shell. I'm not doing all of his shell, just in places. I just want to hit some darks and light spots. Same place with him. I'm going to... He's harder to do. He's little. But that's okay. So I'm not going to add as much with him. There we go. That'll do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my turtle shell for my big turtle. And I'm going to bring in my ink pads. And I'm going to be using polished stone, soft succulent, and pale papaya. So what I'm going to do, and if you watch me do the peach, this is on the same order. I'm going to take the lightest color and I'm going to dab it on my shell. Okay? Then I'm going to take the pink and I'm just going to add a little bit of pink into my shell. Just a little bit, maybe just a couple of places. And then I'm going to take the green and I'm going to go around the outside of the shell. And I just wanted to give my shell some color because I thought it would be fun. And that fits right in your center. I'm sorry if you're seeing my head. And that's how it goes. Now you see the white. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the dark soft succulent and I'm just going to go around these lights. Fill in those lines. And that's how you make your little turtle shell. And if you want to darken that a little bit more down there around him and around the top, after you get that all done, There you go. Now the last thing we have to do with him is I'm going to bring in my dark Pale Papaya, and I'm going to do his little toes right there in that. And I'm going to do his little eyeball, so it's kind of yellow, gives it more depth right there. And I'm also, while I have that on my bird, I'm going to do her little beak and around her little eye, because it just helps take some of the starkness of the white away. Okay, that is our turtle. Now we're going to go ahead and do our little turtle the same exact way. I am going to, I know this one's little, but I'm still going to do the same colors, which can be tricky. And then we're going to stamp that right in the center, like that. And I'm going to use the light this time because, and I'm using the smaller end since that's such a small area. And there we go. And I still have to take my little, do the little toenails to match the little. And there we go. That's our little turtle. Big turtle, little turtle. So let's shut all of these, because the last thing I want to do is get this card all the way down and then knock it into these open pads. And yes, I've done stuff like that before, so I don't want to do it again. So there's our inside of our card. There's that. Let's go ahead and color our flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around. I'm going to do it in pink. Like my pink finger you're seeing. It's where I hit the ink pad with my fingers. Guess I gotta try to get that off before I go have surgery tomorrow. They'll wonder what in the heck I've been doing. Or I could leave it and it would lead me into a way of talking about Stampin' Up and making your own cards and having fun. Okay, there we did the dark, and I'm not doing any blending or anything with this. I'm just basically coloring my flower. Now we're ready to punch everything out. I'm going to punch out my turtle first. So I'm going to open my punch, place my turtle right in here, and just make sure I don't cut his tail off and stuff. Poor turtle. He'd have to go to a rescue center. There we go. There's him cut out. Now let's do my flower. So I'm going to take the flower, and if you noticed my flower when I stamped it so it's crossways because that's how it looks on here. And it doesn't matter which way I turn it. So now I can just stamp or punch my flower out. I want to get it a little bit more straight in there. And punch out a lot of junk with it. There we go. So that's punched out. Okay. Now we're ready to put it together. So all I did here with my turtle was I turned it over and I put dimensionals on the back of it. I did not put it on his feet because I want his feet to be over the edge. So I put 3 on his little shell and 1 on his head because I wanted it to be held up good. But like I said, I did not want it over his feet. And I left it in here so I would know where the placement I want him to be. And I think I want him about like that. There we go. And that's our turtle. So now what I did with the back of my flower, and I want to just show you a little trick. Here is my flower, and I want it to stand up, be a little bit 3-dimensional. So I took at the end of my pick tool that looks like a stylus, took my foam mat, and then just go in the circle and just into the center and just do a circular motion, and see how that pops that flower up? That gives it a little dimension for your card. Now I know when you put it in an envelope it is going to flatten out a little bit, but usually they'll pop back out a little bit and not be totally flat. So I'm going to use a glue dot, and I'm just going to lay that right there. And I'm going to take my, what did I just do with my pick tool? Just had it right here. And I want to press in the center where I put that glue dot, because that'll kind of burnish that down. And there's my flower. And the last thing I did was I took a jewel, and I'm going to take my dark soft succulent, and I'm going to do that in green. And just painted one of my jewels. Just use the basic rhinestones and your Stampin' Blends or any alcohol ink that you might have. Your Copics if you have Copics. I don't know what some of the other ones are. But as long as it's alcohol based, and I'm going to put that in the center of my flower with my pick tool. And there's our finished card. And that's what it looks like. Isn't that cute? And therefore you just lift that out, and there's the bookmark that somebody could use. And his little feet stick out. I just love his little feet right here. Isn't that cute? But that is the card, and then here's the first one that I made. So there they are. And you can see their shells look a little bit different, just the way that the pink, this one, the yellow really shows through right there. So they look a little bit different, you know. It's just in the way that you do them. And then here's the flower one. You can use any kind of stamp sets that you have that you could use to make a bookmark. Really cute. These would be cute for kids, for adults. Everybody loves turtles. You know, you can make it look more manly and do a manly looking turtle. But just all kinds of cards that you could make for different people. So that's all I have for you tonight. I just wanted to be able to get in here and show you this video. I want to get it up and that because tomorrow, like I said, I will be having surgery. And then I hope to be back next week. But if I'm not feeling well enough to do a video, then at least I got one up this week and won't go 2 weeks without one. So that is what I have got planned. And I hope you all have a nice day, or whatever time of you're watching this, day, night. Have a good weekend, and I'll be back with you hopefully next week. Bye.